First, can I have a acrobatics and stealth?
All right, there we go.
I believe in you.
Oh my god.
I still believe in you.
You skillfully jump into the rafters. You get above room 126. You can see in the hallway there are 2 guards standing out front this room. The door is closed, and you don't see anyone inside. As you begin to attempt to hop down into the room, you land straight on the table that was in the small common area. The wood shatters under your weight as a loud crash is probably heard throughout this floor.
I'm gonna try to go up the rafters then.
Go ahead and make a acrobatics check with disadvantage for me since you are trying to quickly scurry up there. You attempt to grab the edge and pull yourself up, and unfortunately your hand slips off the side of the wall and you fall on your back prone. Hear the door open and 2 sets of footsteps coming in from the hallway. Both of these guards get a hand on your ankles. They're about to grapple you and pin you to the ground.
Take out a short sword, right? Like, I'm just as deadly with a short sword than I am with a bow.
You see in front of you a female tabaxi in fully kitted out plate armor, along with a kind of middle-aged male wood elf, also in full armor. Which would you like?
Probably the tabaxi.
Go ahead and roll to hit. A 19 will hit.
I do have a cunning action. I'm going to disengage and see if I can't just bust out the window, right?
Acrobatics or athletics to bust through this window.
Oh, definitely acrobatics. Oh, these rolls.
11. Okay. You can bust through this window, and it will shatter. Though unfortunately, you don't stick the superhero landing, and you trip over yourself and are prone on the other side of this window.
How high is this window?
This was first floor. It's only a fall of about a foot, probably. Okay. You hear the footsteps of the 2 guards come towards you, and one climbs out of the window. Go ahead and roll athletics or acrobatics, your choice, to contest one of their grapples, because only one could fit through the window at a time. Well, they rolled a natural 1. Just continue rolling out of the way of their hands, as it is now back up to you if you would like to spend half your movement to get up and continue running.
I'm going to run for some place that is cluttered, that way that I can hide appropriately.
Make a stealth check for me.
Eventually these bad rolls have to end, right? Ah.
I'm sorry, bud. You find the best bet as you round the corner is to dive straight into this bush that's alongside the building and hide within that. The 2 guards round the corner. The wood elf is quite quickly able to identify the shaking bushes still settling from you running through. Will attempt to run in and grab you once more. Your choice, acrobatics or athletics.
Ah, there we go. Finally a decent roll.
He is horribly unsuccessful as he ends up grabbing a branch of the bush and just ripping it out and realizes what he has in his hand.
I'm going to run for any place that is cluttered, thick, and where I can hide until, like, you know, this whole fiasco dies down.
Roll a stealth check for me as you see a group of carts, possibly the merchant carts that you were tasked to take. Within your view as you dive in and attempt to hide within one of these carts behind some materials. You hear these 2 guards, very loud, marching in their full plate, attempting to find you. They do not notice where you have gone.
Oh, thank God.
They rolled a natural 2 and a natural 3, respectively.
Whew!
And assuming that you continued running, they make their way along the rest of the back of the building. As for now, you think you're safe.
I'm going to rest here. Oh my God.
Mercedes, Juliet, Jin, and Kai. Unbeknownst to the battle going on below your feet, you make your way within the inside of the building to the nearest unit of guards stationed within. And you in fact see the same group of 3 guards that Juliet and Kai pulled a Karen on but an hour or 2 ago.
Kai will actually not go with the group. She'll kind of like, not too far from them, but like make it seem like she's not with them. And she'll probably just like hide her old self so the guards don't know who she is.
Go ahead and make a stealth check for me. Within the kind of under part of the stairs, find a place to cover yourself and just peek around the corner as you see Juliet, Jen, and Mercedes continue past you, walking towards this group of guards. Juliet, you can fully see that one of these is Bromking Seeker.
As though I do not know this man, I would like to say, hello, we heard you were looking for information about an incident?
Fuck it, he doesn't know who you are either.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean, you were wearing your more royal clothing. You've switched
Right.
back to your adventurer clothing at this point.
Right, a paladin duh.
You see standing with him now what you really didn't focus on before. His other two compatriots next to him, there is a female, kind of very pale-skinned humanoid. Can't quite identify what race at this point, but they are all still fully armored, seemingly ready for some sort of combat, along with a very young human male. I forget Brom's voice. Fuck.
Just think of Rupert.
Is it the same voice you use for the horses?
No, I don't want to think of Rupert, actually. Walks up to you. Yes, ma'am, we are. Do you have information?
We had a child with us. His name is Arthur. He's a very nice young man. A little touched, you could say. But at some point he wandered off and we were looking for him and we went to investigate a room and there was an incident in the hallway. I don't know if it's the incident, but my friend was attacked by a small dwarven woman. Is that the kind of incident you're looking for?
He kind of looks to the other two, and almost seems to like inch forward ever so slightly towards you. Go on.
Well, you see, our ward, Arthur, had gotten lost, and we were looking for him. So he came down to inquire about a lost animal, possibly with a person, We've been trying to teach him right, to do good for others, and we were knocking on some of the doors, and no one answered on a room. We heard what we thought was a scuffle, and so of course I thought I had to peek in and check just to be sure that they were safe, of course. During this, there was some sort of altercation going on between a dwarven woman and an older man. She threw a vial of acid at my friend in the hall, and then we ran. We were very afraid, for our safety. And during all of this, we've actually lost another one of our friends. He's about yay high, and I put my hand down about where Siegfried would be. He has red hair. That's his most distinguishing feature.
I need you to make a deception check, please.
How about a 9?
Oh, no.
He like looks to the other two, and the female humanoid figure is not believing anything you are saying and is just staring right at you as if you are wasting her time completely. The younger human male has no idea what to think. He doesn't seem to really believe you either, but he doesn't seem like he wants to act on it in any way. He's maybe the trainee of the group, and as Mr. Keenseeker, and the dwarven lady threw a vial of acid at you?
Indeed, show them your injuries. I, sir, am an apothecary, and I was investigating my friend's wounds, and it is very serious.
Roll a persuasion check, sure.
I have to give myself guidance ahead of time.
He notices both the pause you make in the middle of your persuasion to cast the verbal component of guidance, along with the hand gestures for the somatic component of guidance, when he already doesn't believe your guys' story originally, and he very much in his mind classifies you guys now as someone who needs to be talked to more, as he snaps his fingers to both of his sides, and the three of them are going to attempt to arrest you three.
Oh no!
I have already started crying legit tears because of my social awkwardness.
Are they going to try to put hands on us, or are they just going to ask us to come with them?
They are putting hands on you and appear to be pulling out shackles.
Great. When they reach for me, I will dead ass look that small one in the eyes. And I will say, I will come with you willingly, but if you put a hand on me, you won't have it anymore.
Damn.
So go ahead and make an intimidation check for me.
Unless I want to cast guidance on myself. That was a joke.
Oh man.
And Jen, are you resisting at all?
I will tell them, no need. I will cooperate and figure out this mess.
Okay, go ahead and make a persuasion check.
I'm gonna have shrooms make a male scream for like help. Close enough where the guards
to the
can
hall?
hear.
The human and the pale-skinned female humanoid, both of their attentions turn to this scream. Though the half-orc who is arresting Mercedes seems to have noticed this is probably a fake. Juliet, as
Yes.
you attempt to scare the shit out of this kid, the scream comes out and he physically jumps out of his skin. This female guard hear this scream. The two of them begin moving towards the stairs and leaving you before Keenseeker reaches out and says, "No, arrest them first. Then we figure what that is." As the command from their superior officer seems to have overridden both your intimidation and persuasion, and they will both begin shackling you.
You gotta follow it up, Juliet. You gotta fight back. You said he moved his hands.
It's true.
I did, but it was mostly.
Oh no.
Oh, don't puss out now. Cut him.
I will absolutely resist him shackling me. Like, I'm gonna go with them, but like, no touchy. No
Okay.
Full
touchy.
Karen. Full Karen.
Go ahead and make a athletics or acrobatics, your choice, to contest his grapple.
Damn. Oh.
Jeez.
That is a natural 19.
Oh shit.
He does successfully shackle you. And Kai, you see from down the hallway, your three friends now in shackles. Are you doing anything as you see them being taken out of one of the side doors?
I guess I'm gonna stealth and follow them.
Okay, go ahead and make a stealth check for me. You begin making your way as stealthily as you can, following them. The three of you are taken into the main guard outpost. You are put into three separate adjacent
Mercedes.
cells. Probably 1 to 2 minutes of being put in here. 3 guards will come in unarmed to your cell, and your backpacks were taken at the door, but they take any equipment on you, and they actually begin stripping your armor and your clothes off and hand you a set of plain common clothes so that they can know for sure that you have nothing on you.
Don't you dare
So-
take my hat. It's mine.
They take
No, not my hat.
Damn. They took everything.
Meanwhile,
I'm gonna poison every one of these
Siegfried.
motherfuckers.
you awake in a familiar cell. This time there is no man standing above you, casting Revivify. You hear footsteps approaching your cell. They begin to get closer and closer. You look out and see the same tall, thin, female drow figure. Long white hair that goes down on her back and across her shoulders. Pale, pale white skin, as she's in this kind of dark blue and black armor and cloak drape that goes all the way down, and what looks to be kind of leather-like pants and boots that connect into each other at one place near her ankles. You see she has a long spear coming to a very fine, shiny point tipped on her back now. Some sort of skull, not humanoid, but some type of large animal skull hanging from her belt on her right side. She looks you up and down. I have good news for you, Mr. Linhart. We've reestablished our distortion field, and we're once again safe from outside intrusion. And I've just gotten word we have some of your friends in our custody now.
Oh no.
By random chance, 3 of your friends, for reasons unbeknownst to me, are now in the hands of the way in guard, and we might possibly have a chance to bring them down here and join you. Isn't that just wonderful?
I am livid and angry.
Oh, come now. There's no need for that. We've only just begun our games. You and me, and all the time to figure out why you and your friends are messing with our plans. We'll figure it out. Maybe they'll be more helpful than you've been. I'm sure one of them knows something. And now I have leverage. Be a shame if one of them were to die in custody before we get your information from you, wouldn't it?
How many times have I told you I know absolutely nothing of what's going on? Told you multiple times throughout this entire escapade, and you don't seem to understand that whatever happened out there was total coincidence.
Mr. Linhart, we don't believe in coincidence here. It's no coincidence that you, my friend, and controlled by this personality within you, found your way to our cave and our staging ground. Messed with our plans, not once, but twice now. That's not by chance. Whether you know it or not, you're being guided by an external force. We're going to figure out what your mission is. And then, for the final time, very slowly, we will kill you.
If there is an external force, then they have a sick sense of humor.
That they do. Use pawns like you instead of fighting us directly. You see, I don't need your friends, I only need you. I'll put them in front of you, put them in the same room you've been in, and kill them just as slowly as I have killed you, except we won't waste the gems to revive them. Ta-ta now. We'll talk soon. She walks off down the hallway and disappears.
I'd like to try to speak to the darker powers that I know are within me.
Ooh.
Okay.
Are you in there? I know you want revenge on these pricks as much as I do. And now I have a reason to let you out. Give me something, anything. I can't let the same thing happen to them.
Roll a D100 for me.
Ooh.
Alright. D100.
You are looking for a low number.
8. That is.
Oh,
That is a low number.
8's pretty low.
I don't care where you're from. I don't care who you are. But I need you now. And I know you still need me out here.
Along your cell door begins to slither a very long black snake wrapped around the bars of the door and looks at you. You hear a voice in your head. You've been involved in this war since the beginning.
Lord,
We won't let you die in here, for you are our chosen one.
help
Friends
me.
are meaningless to us.
But they're meaningful to me. And if they're meaningful to me, that means they're useful to you.
Snake kind of turns its head the other way. We'll be in touch. As the
Yeah.
snake slides away and disappears.
Can you at least tell me what your name is?
No response.
It's just like on the ground on his knees. Stay strong. Stay strong.
Meanwhile, Orsk and Kai has been, at this point for you, Orsk, about 10 or 15 minutes. The sounds of guard footsteps have dissipated. Kai, you made your way skulking through the outside of the way-in, took up a position out front, and saw your friends get taken into the main guard building, about 300 feet, 400 feet away from the entrance to the way-in.
I'm gonna travel around the whole guard tower and kind of figure out like entrances and stuff like that.
Orsk, what are you doing?
Borrow something from the card that I'm in to help me disguise myself, right? Because I'm going to strip out of the attire that I normally wear.
Roll a d10 for me.
Oh boy.
8. The majority of what's in this cart is building supplies. Metal bars, a ton of lumber, a very early type of concrete-like powder. Not anything close to what modern day would be, but some type of powder that when water is added to it, it will thicken and become a lot harder. So some type of support type substance. There's not really any clothing in this cart.
All right, it's gonna make me look older, but I'm gonna try to put the powder in my hair, put in my facial hair as well, make myself look like I'm older than what I really am. On top with my traveler's clothes, right?
Make a performance check for me.
Performance? Okay.
You're paler now. It's very splotchy though. Your hair is kind of two-tone now. Maybe you have a skin disease of some sort.
Orsik is going to get out of that cart and we'll see if the plan worked out, right?
Kai, as you are walking around the sides of this building, very suddenly, a very pale and splotchy-skinned Orsik just jumps out of a cart right next to you.
I try to trip him.
Both of you, I'll say acrobatics or athletics, I will say.
I roll
Ooh.
acrobatics.
I roll athletics.
Okay. Kai, you try to just kind of very forcefully throw your leg out there to trip him. Orsik, she's just scared the shit out of you. Your instincts kick in though. You see this leg and you're just like, whoop, hop right over it.
Oh my god.
Why do you look like that?
God. It's what I had to work with.
Oh my god, are you okay?
I got caught.
They're in jail.
What? Well, hold on. If they're in jail, then what are you doing? Okay, come on,
We're out in the open.
Where's the closest place that we could hide and talk, right?
Well, there's carts. Or you can, 50 feet away from you right now, an entrance back inside the way in that is leading into the back hallway.
Yeah. Let's
Okay.
just hop back into the cart. All right. Start from the very beginning. What happened?
No one can act, apparently. Juliet was throwing hands, wanted to cut off some kid's hands. I tried to help with some screams. That didn't work. There was a half orc. Everyone got handcuffed. Currently, they're in. I point to where the cell is.
Okay, let me explain what happened to me. I went through the rafters, as planned. I accidentally landed on a table. I came into the room. They tried pulling me up. I nicked one of them, jumped out the window. Then from there, it was a chase game, and it ended with me hiding in this cart.
Mercedes, Juliet, and Jen. You have just been put into these holding cells. You feel this kind of fuzzy tingling sensation come upon you after the 3 guards exit the room. The only light is coming through the small window in the door.
I don't like being in the dark. I'm at least concentrate on a little produced flame in my hands. Just I don't like sitting in the dark.
As you sit down and begin to go through the steps of casting Produce Flame, it does not happen. You seem to be unable to produce any sort of magic.
Can we hear her from our cells? Or is
Make a
it
perception check.
silence?
You do hear her utter some incantations in an attempt to cast some sort of spell, and you kind of wait in anticipation, and nothing happens. And Mercedes, you see a guard face appear in the window to your cell as he beats on the door. None of that.
Can I stand up and look out the little weird window and see who's hanging out outside of my cell?
It's hard with how small this window is and how little line of sight you have, but some type of long white hair.
I would like to say, hey, listen, can I ask what we did to get locked up? Usually they tell you why you're locked up.
No response.
Okay. Well, anyway, Rebecca, you're a really good listener.
This prompts a small reaction as you see a face kind of turn towards you and give you a small little kind of look. This is clearly a younger male humanoid, as he just kind of gives you a little eye out of the corner before turning back and facing forward.
What I do is not magical. I try to light my hands. What happens?
Having heard Mercedes' attempt, try to focus yourself and begin pulling elements from the air around you, and it looks as though for a split second a flame appears in your hand before being snuffed out. Juliet, you begin to hear multiple sets of footsteps coming down the hallway, and they stop in front of your cell. You begin to hear ching, ching, ching of locks opening as the door swings into the hallway, opens outwards. And you see 4 pale-skinned, long white-haired drow figures and begin shackling you with what appears to be spiked chains that dig into your wrists and your ankles as both your arms and legs are bound. Do you resist at all?
No.
These 4 figures, 2 on each side, arms under your arms, they begin
is-
escorting you down a hallway.
Is
Go ahead.
Rebecca coming with us?
Is not coming with you.
I'd like to say, bye, Rebecca. Take good care of my friends.
You see this very young-looking drow standing outside with his long, wavy white hair, and you kind of lock eye contact with his very deep brown eyes as he just looks at you and follows your gaze, no emotion on his face. Jin and Mercedes, you not only hear but see them pass by your cells as they drag Juliet towards the stairs at the end of this hallway. They seem infinite. You try to look behind you. There's no sign of the main floor above. It's carved out stone. Moss grows on the walls around you as they drag you down an equally infinitely long hallway. Siegfried, you see getting closer to you as you look out. Juliet being dragged by the familiar drow figures that are the same as your captors. You have but a couple seconds to see each other as you pass.
Siegfried looks awful as you're passing by. His hair's all frazzled, he's wearing tattered clothes, and you just see dozens upon dozens of vertical scars lining his arms. Juliet?
Hey, haven't seen you in a while.
No, please, no. Going to attempt to reach for the bars.
Try to reach out, and
Come
the
on.
same force of some sort stops you before your hands even get to the bars. You feel this electricity bounce up your arm and go through. You take 11 lightning damage.
Ow.
As some type of electrical force just goes up your arm, and almost instinctively your muscles retract as you watch the progress you got through.
Fucking hell! I just hit the ground.
Juliet, you turn around. His cell is gone. It is just infinite stone wall and hallway behind you now. You are led to a small cell. A reinforced steel or iron door of some sort toss you into this cell, and as they do, the chains unravel from behind you, and they close the door, and you hear multiple locks and tumblers go. No more by foot wide window with many bars, both vertical and horizontal across it, is the only window you see out of this door. Time no longer makes sense. You feel like they just threw you in seconds ago, but at the same time, it feels like you've been here for weeks already. You try to look and hear out of your cell, but there's nothing. No guards, no footsteps, no crackle of a fire or torches. Mercedes. But 30 seconds after Juliet was drugged by your cell, you hear footsteps approach yours as it opens, and 4 drow figures stand in front and begin to walk in and tie these spiked chains around your arms and wrists. Do you resist?
Absolutely. And I'm going to start yelling in Undercommon because I realize they're drow. We're like, what are you doing?
Athletics or acrobatics check for me. For the record, they rolled an 18, a 17, a 19, and a 14. So one of them you kind of pull off from and have a momentary hope as the other three grab hold of you and it start to embed these spiked chains around your wrists, and it hurts.
I'm about to have a full-blown panic attack because I have experienced something like this before, and I do not like this.
For the record, that is Mercedes, or is that you, Jelly?
No, that's Mercedes.
Just
Backstory
want to make
stuff.
sure.
Yeah,
Want to
yeah.
make sure we're not pushing anybody's boundaries here.
Like, Mercedes is gonna full on start freaking out.
And they begin to drag you down a staircase. Time begins to drag. It is unclear how many steps you've walked down, how far you've gone. You turn around, the upstairs has disappeared, and it's just a staircase leading into nothing as far as you can see. You're led down an infinitely long hallway. As Siegfried, you once again hear the sounds of chains and feet dragging along the ground. You two have a couple seconds. As Mercedes, you pass by this cell, and through the small foot-by-foot window in the door, see Siegfried's face on the other side.
Still yelling and undercommon, like asking them to let her go.
Mercedes, so sorry.
Mercedes, you are dragged down a hallway and thrown into a room with a door that looks like the cell you passed with Siegfried. A reinforced iron or steel door creaks open. You are thrown into a room as these chains seem to unravel themselves and the door closed and locked. Jin, within 30 seconds of you hearing Mercedes getting drug out of her cell, your cell door opens as you see 4 drow figures standing with chains in hand and try to chain you up. Do you resist in any way?
I stand up and look at them and say, I came here for a reason. I want to know what's going on as much as you do. I came willingly. Let's walk.
They don't even seem to react to you talking, as they have taken up positions around you and are grabbing your hands and legs. Do you do anything physically?
Have I seen these drow walking around the way in before?
You have actually seen no drow in the entire way in.
I'll follow along.
Okay. As these chains with spikes are embedded into your arms and legs, the same thing happens to you as you're led down an infinitely long staircase, as time seems to drag and go fast at the same time. Siegfried, for the 3rd time, you begin to hear the sounds of chains and dragging feet coming by.
Jin?
Stay silent.
Come on, talk to me. Please.
As you are led down the hallway, the sound of Siegfried's voice and the appearance of his cell disappears, as you're drug on for who knows how long before being thrown in an equally identical cell. As the chains unravel and you're thrown in, and the door is shackled and locked. You are alone with your thoughts in this empty, damp, dark, and quiet cell.
I'm going to sit down meditation mode and try to gather any heat in this room, any heat off my body.
Go ahead and make a wisdom check for me. You meditate for what feels like an eternity. You don't know how much time has passed, but slowly and slowly you're building up what you can feel inside, trying to gather heat. But there seems to be an equal reaction as you do, as the room around you begins to get colder and colder. Begin to hear footsteps out front your cells, as the doors are unlocked. As this time in front of each of you, there are 6 drow figures, all in full plate armor, all with spiked chains wrapped around their arms, begin to enter each of your cells and shackle you. Does anyone do anything or resist physically in any way?
No, I will not. I am more focused on the safety of my friends right now to care about myself.
I won't resist.
Juliet will not resist, however, comment that the service here is terrible. The
Oh,
worst
my
prison
goodness.
she's been in.
No, I have done nothing wrong. I will continue.
They begin to drag the four of you out into an empty, infinitely long hallway. First, Siegfried, you are led to a familiar door of a room that opens. You are thrown into this room as this field that always takes effect pulls you forcefully against the back wall away from the door. The lights shining down on you. You see the figures back in the observation deck above, as there are carts of equipment in front of you. The door begins to open as Mercedes is led in. Mercedes, before you is a large room, very brightly lit from lights above the door, seemingly coming from nowhere and everywhere at the same time. If you try to look at them, they're blinding. You have to turn away. You see the figure, what's possibly Siegfried, along a back wall, pinned about 3 feet in the air, arms and legs out, unmoving. No matter how much he struggles to pull off the wall, he is stuck against it. The guards escorting you lead you to the right from the inside of the door. You begin to feel this tugging motion as if gravity has shifted and is pulling you. Chains unravel as you too are pulled against this wall. Carts of different implements, shiny, metal, anything that can be used to harm someone is here in this room. The door once again opens, Juliet, as you are led into the same room, and they take you over to the left side wall as gravity shifts and pulls you and pins you against this wall.
Siegfried, are you all right?
I'm worried more about you.
I'll be fine. Are you okay? Is Mercedes okay?
Why look okay?
I'm gonna start mumbling in abyssal.
That one wasn't at my course of studies. No.
I do speak Abyssal.
Oh.
Juliet, you
Yes.
surprisingly can understand them. You can tell it's a foreign tongue that you shouldn't know. Your ears are hearing this foreign tongue, but your brain seems to be translating it. As you can understand Mercedes' random mumbles and Sig calling her name in Abyssal. Jen, you are led into this same large room. As the guards back out and close the door, the wall behind you seems to shift into a solid wall with no door as you are pulled against it 3-4 feet in the air. You see Siegfried in front of you, Mercedes to your right, Juliet to your left. This room, all of you, seems infinitely big, but a finite space at the same time. You can see and almost reach out to the others, but they seem so far.
The drow, are they wearing guard attire, or it looks like something completely different?
It is something completely different than the Wayan guards. They are in undefined dark black or purple full plate armor covered in a very thick leather that covers around. You can hear that kind of squeaky leather sound as they move. Frankly, completely different from anyone you've seen over the past few days. From Daggerford to here, you have not seen a single drow. It is very clear that these individuals have zero association with the Way In.
Okay.
That the place you are at now, even without this distortion that is around you of time and place, you don't think you're anywhere near the Way In.
They're not part of the guard. I don't know who they are, but they're not part of the Wayward.
I look at Siegfried, and I nod.
Why did you have to stay in town for me? You could have laid low. You had a million excuses to get out.
Doesn't feel like our style.
A large reinforced iron door opens from the ceiling as Siegfried, a familiar individual to you, a kind of maybe middle-aged female drow, long braided white hair, enters the room and almost seemingly floats down from the ceiling before kind of turning to the same gravity that you guys are aligned with and on the floor in front of the four of you. Kind of takes in, looking around at the three new ones. To get introductions out of the way, I am Eris. It's a pleasure to meet you all. Though who knows how long we will have the pleasure of knowing each other. It's an exciting day. It's been a while since I've had four at once. I had to change the layout of the room. I love remodeling. Anyways, let us begin, shall we? She grabs a small, jagged-edged, fine-tipped dagger and moves it in her hand and walks up to you, Juliet. You seem to be the most talkative one of the bunch. Is that right?
Always have been.
Maybe we can end this quickly and quickly, huh? We would all love that, wouldn't we? Who sent you here?
This guy, Brahm Kingseeker actually brought me. He's a pretty nice guy. He's a half-orc, pretty handsome. I wonder if he's single. I mean, you're probably not his type, Erica, but,
She just stares blankly at you, and the smile just grows on her face. You are an interesting one, aren't you? Unfortunately, wasn't the answer I'm looking for. As she holds up the dagger and it seems to align itself to the pull that is keeping you against the wall as she lets go and this dagger goes straight into your shoulder blade. Do take, well, 2 points of piercing damage.
oh yeah.
Crazy.
You can just feel the anger radiating off of him.
Walks back to one of the carts and pulls up this time a big old short sword. Steps back up to you, Juliet. So, let's try again, shall we? Why did you enter the cave in bowshot?
What? Oh, this is all my fault. Well, you see, we were in Bowshot and there was this really nice lady at the tavern. I think her name was Tiri. She was a lot of fun. Kind of a bit weird, maybe has a gambling problem, but you know, it's fine. So she was like, hey, the cave was just really sad, you know? It had a lot of feelings. Probably needed some therapy. Kind of like you. Do you want to talk about your feelings? Like,
She lets go of the short sword as it flies towards you and embeds itself in your chest. That is 8 piercing damage, and blood begins to trickle down your chest.
you definitely have a temper problem.
Sweetheart, they put me in this job for a reason. I'm very good at what I do.
Work out your issues?
As she
'Cause they could
walks
use
back
more
to a
work.
cart. And she begins to pick up a very long, probably 4 or 5 inch needle syringe and steps back over towards you. This individual at the tavern that you speak of, the one with the gambling problem, why did she send you to the cave?
She didn't send us. We went on our own. I said we should go to the cave. Just to check it out, because it was the right thing to do.
So who do you work for then? Maybe you're the brains behind all of this, huh?
Wouldn't be the first time I've been accused of such. But I don't work for anyone. Not anymore.
I see. We're not going to get anywhere with harming you directly, as she points the syringe behind her and begins to push some of this green liquid through. Gravity seems to pull it across the room straight towards you, Mercedes, and it lands straight on your chest and begins searing and bubbling as your chest flesh begins to burn away. That will be 9 acid damage. The questions that the 3 of you are asked. Why were you in Bowshot? Why did you go to the cave? Who do you work for? And why are you interfering with our affairs?
The minute she hurts Mercedes, Juliet will absolutely make up some bullshit. Fine. If you want to know, it was Alara Den who sent us. I know, Siegfried, you've tried so hard not to tell her, but we
Yes.
should just tell her the truth.
When Mercedes specifically got damaged, he's actively tried to
Um,
fight the restraints.
Juliet, make a charisma saving throw for me. You begin to feel some type of potential intrusion into your mind. Takes you but just a second to close off your mind and push it out as you continue telling her this story.
Rude,
She
Erica.
pauses for a second and looks you up and down. Good. I'll be back. Do wait here. And she floats back up and out of the room. Over the next seemingly infinite amount of time, this drow woman re-enters the room and begins to ask over and over the same questions. No matter the responses any of you give, the amount of times you push their presence out of your mind, she leaves for an unknown amount of time before coming back and just begins asking the same questions again. She doesn't do the same things to you all. She does rotate around to different individuals, asking the questions to different people and stuff like that.
When she starts bothering anyone else, Juliet will intentionally make herself louder. It's like mentally in the way as much as she can.
Uh-oh.
There's one thing I want to yell at her at some point, though. If you're going to keep this up, at the very least, you fucking use my real name.
This catches her eye as she stops what she's doing across the room and walks up to you. Boros it is, then. Does it bother you that you stole your father's name?
Oh shit.
Does it give you some sense of comfort to use that? Remind you of what you were as a child? What you've done in your past?
I was scared. I was alone. I needed something.
You're an interesting one, you know that?
I've been
There's
told
much to
that-
find out about you.
Boros.
Juliet would definitely comment on the fact that your name is Boris. How could you keep that from us? How could you withhold this important information from us, your closest friends? I feel more betrayed by this than anything else, honestly. Okay, Boris.
It's Boros. And whenever he gets a chance, Siegfried will call over to Mercedes, make sure she's okay.
We end this 4-on-1 with that.
Whew. That was wild.
You have no idea what you have fast forwarded. Kaboxite knows a little bit more, but you guys still don't know the full extent of the fuck you've started. Way early.
Picturing this woman like stabbing Juliet, and she's like, okay, but can we discuss that his name is Boros and he lied to us?